I hook up with my husband's friend while he visit our home. 1.5 years ago, Eric and I had been in a happy live-in relationship, and a little over a month ago, in a beautiful wedding ceremony, we had joyfully tied the knot and become husband and wife. We're completely smitten with one another, and we were confident that our relationship could endure any challenge that life threw at us. Ben, Eric's best buddy who lived in a different city, called him on the phone one bright morning. Ben disclosed to Eric that he would be staying in our city for a day, at which point Eric became quite delighted by the news and asked Ben if he was interested in staying at our home. At first, Eric turned down the invitation, but later on, he changed his mind and accepted it since he was also eager to meet up with an old friend of his, and Eric was pleased to have his old friend meet me. Ben came later that evening, and throughout the first few hours of his stay, we spent the time laughing and talking about the experiences that my husband and Ben had together. At first, I tried to brush off the impressions that I was getting from Ben. It was clear from the way he was staring at me that he was mesmerized by me, and I had even observed that he liked hearing me laugh. After only a few hours, I was certain that he had formed a mild crush on me since he was unable to conceal his feelings or disguise the gestures that he was making toward me. He couldn't help but show me his feelings. Throughout the rest of the day, I noticed that he was increasingly drawn to me. He was having trouble processing his emotions, and for some reason, despite the fact that I was fully aware that what was going on was inappropriate, I did not feel uneasy about it. The reason for this is that he is very close to my husband, and I did not want their relationship to suffer as a result of this. However, I have no doubt that he was struggling with his conscience and making an effort to repress the developing desire he felt toward me. One thing that I was puzzled about was why I was able to sense his emotions with such clarity. Eric, on the other hand, was blissfully unaware of Ben's internal strife and was overjoyed to see that his closest buddy was getting along so effortlessly with his wife. Ben and I are the only ones who were aware of the reality. It was summer, so Eric and Ben transferred their conversation to the pool. When I wore my swimsuit, Ben looked at me in a certain way, and I was able to tell what he wanted. As a result, I cancelled my intention to join them in the pool and instead went into the kitchen to make drinks for them. The day was coming to an end. My husband brought drinks since he wanted to spend some time with his best friend after it had been a while. Ben has never come to visit us in the roughly 2.5 years that Eric and I have known each other. But over that time he has known about us and I knew about him because Eric told me. This was the very first time that Eric, Ben, and I sat down together and had some drinks. Ben was drinking less than normal because he had a meeting first thing in the morning, whereas my husband drank quite a lot. We were sitting and having liquor in response to Eric's request. I got up and went into the kitchen to retrieve some ice from the freezer. I was completely taken aback when Ben came to see me in the kitchen after making some excuse to Eric. He gave me a tap on the shoulder. At first, I mistook it for Eric, so I turned around and was taken aback to see that it was Ben standing so close to me. Ben grabbed hold of me and begged that assure me it was not a one-sided pull. At first, I pretended that I didn't understand what you were talking about, and when he went without saying anything, I continued to simulate innocence. Ben had a harder and harder time concealing his growing feelings for me while my husband was getting closer and closer to passing out from the alcohol. Once more, Ben fabricated an alibi and pulled me aside for a one-on-one conversation. Ben confessed his inner turmoil and expressed the shame he felt for harboring such thoughts toward me. He got up the strength to admit his feelings, and he explained the remorse he felt for doing so. As a response, I grinned since, on the inside, I was experiencing positive feelings around it. When he saw me smile, he smiled as well, and then he crashed his lips into mine, and we had a passionate kiss for an extremely long time until we were both out of breath. I was running to Eric when I heard a glass shatter, and I immediately realized that he must have passed out. Ben brought Eric to our bedroom, and there, we all bid our good nights to each other. Ben said goodbye and informed me that he needs to leave for a meeting very early in the morning. After the meeting, he would be returning to his hometown, and he asked me to pass on his goodbye message to Eric as well. I did not want to lose the opportunity to see Ben one more time, so I set an alarm for the morning. I did not want to miss it. Eric won't be able to get up till the afternoon. He was taken aback when he saw that I was already awake when he got up quite early in the morning. When I offered him breakfast, he responded by saying that he would welcome the opportunity to include me in his meal. I was powerless to stop myself from kissing him, and after that, we found ourselves in the bed of our guest room. Following that, there was an uneasy pause in the conversation between us, and then Ben left for his meeting without uttering a word. My anxiety continued throughout the day because I didn't want him to discuss what had transpired between us with my husband. In the evening, when Eric had gotten over his hangover, he read the messages that Ben had written to him. In them, Ben stated that he had enjoyed his stay at our home, and in particular, that he just loved the breakfast, which made me grin and feel good from the inside.